This week's parasha Tezaveh, discusses the begadim, the clothing of the kohen gadol, of the kohanim in general, and the detailed instructions of how they have to look, and each specific item of the 8 different garments that the kohen gadol is going to wear, the 4 different garments of the regular kohanim. And the pasuk starts off as an intro, Va'asita bigdei kodesh la'aharon, achicha, you're going to make special clothing. God is speaking to Moshe Rabbeinu and saying, Moshe, you're going to make for your brother special holy clothing. It's kadosh, lekavod uletiferet. And what is it for? It's for kavod, it's for honor, uletiferet, for tiferet, translated classically as splendor. Okay, so what is this idea of honor and splendor? So looking up on a bunch of mefarshim, and there's different approaches to how to understand the Kavod uletiferet. I want to go with 2 ideas. One idea we find in the Sefarno and the Beit HaMikdash, and a second idea we find in the Ramban. So let's start with the Sefarno. It says the Sefarno. What does it mean, lechavod? You're going to make this special clothing for honor. What is kavod? Lekavod ha'eli yitbarach beyotam bigdei kodesh la'avodato. So the kavod focuses on God. It's a special clothing that represents, that's for God. He has, the kohen gadol has to dress nice, dress with kavod, because he's serving God. And in honor of God, when we have a meeting with a very important person, when the president walks into the room, we're going to put on our nicest clothing out of kavod to the person above us. Here, the kavod is for HaKadosh Baruch Hu. We're here to honor God. Uletiferet, the idea of tiferet, of splendor, sheh kohen moreh norah al kol sevivav, shem tamidav hakukim al libo uktefav. So he says the idea of splendor is that everyone else is going to have a certain awe of him. All the people around him who is talmidim, we're all there to learn from Aharon Kohen. We should all be talmidei Aharon Kohen, who is the ohev shalom, the rodef shalom. We have to learn from the kohen gadol because he represents us. And also it says that we're his students as we are chakukim, as we find our names engraved on his heart and on his shoulders. His shoulders, it's the avnei shoham on the ktefot ephod, on the shoulder pins. There were these 2 stones, one on each shoulder, with 6 names and 6 names of all the tribes. So that's on the ephod, and on the libo, you had the choshen of the 12 stones with the name of each tribe on each stone, meaning the kohen gadol in a certain sense brings about the unity of the Jewish people. He represents the whole Jewish people. So the tiferet comes in the idea that he's representing us, and also in the idea that we're going to now be in awe of him because we recognize that he's representing us, and that's going to want us to give him splendor and honor and glory. So the kavod is for Hashem, and the tiferet is for us down below. Okay. Says Rabbeinu Bahaye, a similar idea. V'al derech HaKabbalah, he says, according to the Kabbalistic approach, lekavod u'letifaret, yomar v'asita b'dei kodesh la'aron achicha, sheyemesh behem lekavod u'letifaret, klomar, L'chvod Hashem ha'shochen betocham. The kavod is for HaKadosh Baruch Hu, who's shochen betocham. We know the Shekhinah comes down into the Mishkan. So out of the kavod of the Shekhinah that's down, so again, kavod goes for God. U'letiferet Yisrael. The tiferet is for the Jewish people. So here, maybe slightly nuance from the Sefarno, that for the Sefarno, we're supposed to have the awe of Aharon because he represents us. Now it's actually saying him representing us itself is a splendor, itself is a tiferet for the kohen gadol. But we see that, again, kavod is for up on top, while tiferet is down below. Okay, says the Ramban, says Nachman, needs a slightly different approach. What does it mean, the kavod uletiferet? So he's learning on his pshat approach. Sheyeh nichbad umefoar, but malbushim nichbadim umefoarim. They should be wearing clothing that is that the kohen gadol has a responsibility to wear beautiful and gorgeous and adornments, beautiful clothing. Kamo she'amar katuv, kechatan yichahen pe'er. Like a chatan who dresses himself up in like a priestly pe'er, like a priestly crown, a priestly so basically this pasuk in Yeshayahu, Perek Samach Aleph pasuk Yud, is comparing the chatan to priestly garment, or the kohen's clothing now is being compared to chatan clothing. The chatan dresses up nice for his wedding. He's putting on his nicest clothing. Ki eli begadim levushei malchuten, says the Ramban, because the clothing of kohen gadol is the clothing of royalty. Kidmutam yelbeshu malachim b'zman Torah. He says in the times when the Torah was given, this is what kings wore clothing similar to what the kohen gadol wore. So according to the Ramban, this is the clothing of the kohen is like the clothing of the chatan and like the clothing of the melech. Okay, so now I want to take these ideas and understand them in a slightly different light. Because I was listening to a Dvar Torah which said, wait a second, this language of kavod v'tiferet, this is not the only time we say this language. Actually, we say this language every week in the brachot of the haftarah of Shabbat, whether it's Shabbat, whether it's a Yom Tov, when we read a special haftorah. So what does it say there? We in one of the brachot we say ala Torah, ve'al avodah, ve'al nevi'im, ve'al yom Shabbat hazeh. We speak about the Torah, the avodah, Torah, the Nevi'im, and the Torah, and the Shabbat that Hashem gave us. Shenatata lanu Hashem Elokeinu, that Hashem gave us on Shabbat. We say the Kedusha v'limnucha, for holiness and for rest. Lesason ulesimcha, for different levels of simcha and sason. Lechavod uletiferet, and for honor and for splendor. So I heard a beautiful idea. So we see that this concept of the clothing in the Beit HaMikdash, this holiness the kohen gadol is wearing for the sake of God, for the sake of the Jewish people, that same aspect can be found in the ideas of Shabbat as well, or really in the ideas of all the Chagim, as we say this in the Haftorah blessings of all the Chagim. But this concept of Kavod Tiferet, for God and for us, and then we have to have both of those aspects in when we think of Shabbat. So meaning the kedusha of the Kavod Tiferet of the clothing takes place in the kedusha of Shabbat as well. And we have these ideas we've spoken about many times in the past, that we have like this getting close to a Kadosh Baruch Hu in time, this getting close to a Kadosh Baruch Hu in space. So in space, the holy Zman, the holy place, is the Beit HaMikdash, is the Mishkan in our case. And the holy time is Shabbat. The holy person over here is going to be the Kohen Gadol. But we have this concept of, just like we have to have this Kavod and Tiferet, whatever those words mean, whether it's the Rabbeinu Bachai and the Sefarno, whether it's the Ramban, that same level of Kedusha we have regarding the Torah, as we start this bracha of Ala Torah, Ve'ala Avodah, the Avodah against this Kohen Gadol, Ve'al Nevi'im, Ve'al Yom HaShabbat Hazeh. Shabbat is also this Kedusha of Kavod Utiferet. And then I was thinking, maybe we see this already in the intro to the famous piyut we all say Erev Shabbat, L'chadodi of Shlomo Alkabetz wrote this beautiful poem about bringing in Shabbat. Boi kala, boi kala, boi kala, Shabbat malketa. We bring in the bride, we bring in the malka, we bring in the queen. So here we have this concept of, in the Ramban, that this clothing of the Kohen Gadol represents the Chatan, it represents the Melech, while Shabbat in L'chadodi, when we're welcoming the Shabbat represents the feminine, represents that kala, and represents that malketa, that malka, the queen. Now, I'm actually in the middle of reading a sefer from a rabbi, Dr. Uven Kimmelman, who he has a whole perush of what does the Chaloti actually really stand for. And in there, beautifully, he says, the moment that we crown Shabbat as the queen, that we make her the Kala, so at that exact moment, we're becoming the Hatan, we're becoming the Melech. You can't have a Malka without a Melech without a Malka. So that exact moment of marriage, we're becoming the Hatan, we're becoming the Malka. And he says, in a different level, what's going on over here is, in a certain sense, we're also marrying a Kadosh Baruch Hu on Shabbat. We're also trying to reach this level of closeness to Hashem. So in this case, we now have the opposite. When regarding HaKadosh Baruch Hu, we are going to be the Malka, we are going to be the Kala, but we're going to be giving Kavod and Tiferet. We're going to be giving this honor to HaKadosh Baruch Hu as we crown HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And it's no coincidence that while we speak about Shabbat in the Chadodi, we also speak about Yerushalayim. We speak about Yerushalayim being rebuilt and the Jewish people's relationships, that we're going to dress up Yerushalayim. We're going to bring back the exiles to Yerushalayim, because Yerushalayim is that place. While Shabbat is the Zman, the connection to HaKadosh Baruch Hu is the spiritual, Yerushalayim is the place, the physical makom that represents that same exact concept of unity. And on the deepest level, the Mekubalim explain, on the mystical level, what are we doing in the Chadodi? What are we doing on Shabbat? We're bringing together Kudsha Brichu and Shchinte, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, the masculine with the feminine, beyond the scope of this Dvar Torah. But says Kedushat Levi on our pasuk that he writes, what is Kavod Tiferet when it comes to the clothing of the Kohen Gadol? Says the Kedushat Levi, Uperush Chvod Ulatiferet, Hainu Kudsha Brichu Ushchinte. So again, Aaron Kohen being that representative both for God and the Jewish people above and below, but even within HaKadosh Baruch Hu himself, he's trying to create this bigger level of unity. A unity, again, the Jewish people, a unity of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, a unity of HaKadosh Baruch Hu's name itself, so to speak. So we put all that together. That's the Kedusha of Kavod Tiferet, which we have to take into ourselves. Even though today we don't have that Kohen Gadol, we still have our service of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and we also have our Shabbat, which is the Zman to tap into these two beautiful, beautiful words. Shabbat Shalom.